היום אירחנו את נוסייר יאסין, a.k.a. נאס דיילי, יחד עם בת זוגתו, ואייג'ה. דיברנו על איך הם הכירו יומיים אחרי השביעי לאוקטובר, מה הטיפים שלהם למערכות יחסים, איך זה לעבוד ביחד ועוד. הקלטנו את הפרק הזה באנגלית, אבל הם הבטיחו לנו ששנה הבאה הם חוזרים שניהם ועושים את זה בעברית. האזנה נעימה. אני יניב ריבלין, יזם, סופר ומרצה, ומאמין ביזמות כדרך חיים. בכל פרק נשמע מאנשים מיוחדים ומגוונים על הטיפים שלהם לנווט את הדרך להצלחה. כי החיים הם סטארט-אפ. Hello, Nוסייר and ואייג'ה.
Hi.
Hello.
It's so wonderful to have you here. And I believe this is your first podcast together.
It is.
It is.
Which is
Scary.
very excited and honored to have you.
I'm honored, you're honored, and she's scared.
Yes.
How's that for a triangle? How's that for a triangle? What was the most scary thing that you've overcome?
In my life?
Yeah.
Wow, I don't know.
Maybe it's this.
It might be this. No. I'm just nervous because we haven't done something like this together and I'm a bit shy.
I'm very excited to introduce her to the world. And I hope the world, at least Israel, can see who ואייג'ה is.
Thank you.
I love it. It's a great start. So we're both here in Israel, in Tel Aviv, Israel Hayom. What brought you both to Israel this time, and how are things going?
Started off strong yesterday.
So why are we here? I think we're here for multiple things. There's a conference. There's an office here we have. And I'm getting a degree from Ben-Gurion University.
Wow.
Next week. So here to receive it.
He's going to be a doctor.
I'm going to be a doctor.
Mazel tov.
Thank you. I've been secretly studying and no one knew about it.
That is amazing. That is amazing. I'm excited for your exam. Wait, that's super cool.
Yeah.
Are you getting the gown?
Yeah.
And everything?
Everything. I'm graduating.
You're like the whole shebang.
Yeah, now I'm going to be a doctor in, let's see, what topic should we say? It's an honorary degree. Yeah.
But that's awesome that I feel honored that you're getting it from like a university in the periphery. I think it's really, really cool.
It matches with your hypothesis, yeah.
From my hypothesis and your other part of Israel, growing up in Arabe.
Yeah.
And now receiving it in the south. In the south of Israel.
Yeah, exactly. I'm excited to make a video about it and say, my degree is from Ben-Gurion.
How do you feel about that after...
Oh, I think it's great. I'm very excited. I'm very honored by them. I think they're incredible people, and I'm happy they were able to see the impact of Naas Daily, and I'm excited for the world to call me Dr. Yaasin.
I love that. Is your family, I'm sure, equally excited, if not more?
Yeah, no, they're excited, but it's not a medical doctor, so they're not that excited.
It doesn't matter. My mother, when she was alive, she always used to say to like my sister when she like was like against everything in adolescence. She said, "I don't care what you do, as long as you get your doctorate first. Like once you get your doctorate, you can do whatever you want."
But you didn't.
I didn't.
Yeah.
When I went to Harvard and I did my master's, I told Mommy, "Is this enough?" And she said, "It's okay. You got your master's from Harvard. You're okay. You don't need to do the doctorate."
That's funny.
So it's good. Asia, you came from a Jewish family.
Yes.
While growing up, did you visit Israel? How was your relationship with Israel and Judaism like growing up?
So my dad lived in Israel when he was in college. And the first
What university to go to?
He went to I can't remember.
Yeah, we should know that.
Wait, you know.
Was it Ben-Gurion?
No, it wasn't. Oh my gosh, can't remember. He was studying in New York, at a university in New York, and then they sent him here, and he lived here and I have some other family here, but I will come back to you on the name. And he lived here, and he always spoke about his time here as like one of the favorite points in his life. And then he brought me here for the first time when I was 16, and I immediately fell in love with Israel. But have been coming way more since I met Nosier.
Yeah. I'm making her more Israeli.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. How is it, by the way, to go up to his family in Arabe?
It was amazing. The first time I went was last June, and I had never been to an Arab village before. I had no idea what to expect. But his family is the most warm and accepting people I have met. And it's just a really beautiful and interesting experience to have going into an Arab village as someone who hasn't been there before.
Tell it from your eyes. I'm sorry. How was that? How was the first? How was the first interaction?
It's very easy.
No, the interaction is very easy. My parents love her. I mean, no, she's great. I just think it's funny. I think it could be like a nice comedy episode at some point, like taking this Jewish American girl from like middle of Midtown New York. You know, like she lives like literally next to the Empire State Building, and then she is in Arabi, Israel. You know,
it's a bit of a contrast.
It's a big
It
contrast.
is a bit of a contrast.
She used to love West Village. I took her to the real village. She could not.
But you made your village seem like, oh, this like village where I walk 8 miles a day to go get water or something, and it's really not that. It's very developed.
He had to do it for his undergrad, Harvard essay.
Oh, wait.
He had to write
Extremely
that.
developed place.
Hold on a minute. This is a real topic. It's called a village, right? Kfar. What is the definition of kfar in English?
What is it?
Village.
Right, a village.
Yeah.
That's the
So we are called
translation.
Kfar Arabi, which is the village of Arabi, right? So did I misrepresent my village? What do you think?
I don't know just about the 8 miles going through water. That might be a bit of an exaggeration.
I mean, when you describe like taking this like girl from Manhattan to my village, it's a very developed place.
That is interesting. You think it's very developed?
Yes.
Do you think it's very developed?
I don't think it's very developed.
Really?
There you go.
Yeah, I don't think it's very developed. I think there's a lot of development to be done.
That's his entire business thesis.
It's exactly we gotta grow the periphery, and especially I think.
Look,
the
I
Arab
think she
village.
expected a village in like middle of
Yeah.
Congo, like huts made from mud.
You described it.
That's not how I described it. It is a village made of concrete, but I think what we think is not developed is like there's lack of central planning.
Okay, that makes sense.
There's lack of police stations.
Yeah.
We don't have Ramzor, Mazi Ramzor. Traffic lights.
Traffic light.
We don't have traffic
Yeah,
light.
okay, that makes sense.
You know it's called Ramzor?
No,
Well,
I just learned.
you just
Ramzol.
learned.
There's also a very prominent Israeli TV show called Ramzol.
Really?
Yeah.
That's good.
When they will watch it. I want to take us back to the moment you two met. First of all, how did you meet? And who talked to who first?
Well, it's always the guy talking to the girl first. Girls like her don't talk to guys first. My friend, who's my, really good friend, he said, just, check out my friend Asia. You should date my friend Asia. And I was like, who the hell is Asia? And I saw her videos. And the first video I saw of yours, you know this, right? Which was, she was sending food to Holocaust survivors and then telling their story as she does that. And then you could see this like 80, 90-year-old man, and then this like, 28, 29-year-old beautiful girl telling the story of an 80-year-old man. And, he can't communicate, but she can communicate on his behalf. And I was like, wow, this girl has her priorities right. She's creating content with a meaning, a purpose. And she's not messing around. She has a purpose. And I said, I'm gonna slide into the DMs, and I did.
But it wasn't really like a random slide in. Basically, first our mutual friend put us in a group chat and was like, "You guys should meet." And I didn't respond because I had no context of who you were and what was going on. And then
She did not know
did it
Nas
take
Daily.
you to respond?
I didn't know what Nas Daily was. It took me. Oh, I didn't respond.
How did you not know?
I
what
asked her
Nas
the
Daily
same
is?
question.
I had no idea.
Exactly.
I was like, I almost didn't want to go on
He's
the
a
date.
fucking huge influencer. We talked about it yesterday.
Thank you, thank you.
Well, I had
She
no idea.
humbles
It
me every
didn't-
day.
It didn't reach my little box in New York.
And she knew the other content creators that are terrible. They're much smaller and they're not as exciting.
Maybe she wanted
Someone's very sensitive.
she just wanted for you to get more excited about it.
Yeah,
Exactly, exactly.
You know what?
So you played it hard to get.
I wasn't playing hard to get. I didn't know who you were.
So hard to get.
And then I didn't respond. And then you messaged me separately and said, let's host a Shabbat. And then I Googled you and I was like, oh, wow, this guy's interesting. Let's do it.
So she added me on her spreadsheet for professional network.
I did. I actually
That's
did.
awesome.
She saw the followers. She
You
said,
were in the
"This is
media
a
category.
Media category."
That is awesome.
And you're still there.
Wait, talk about that a bit. Like, do you have a professional like directory?
No, I like to keep track of like who I know in what industry, and so at that time I wasn't looking at this as, someone that I would fall in love with, and so I just added him to the media category of my spreadsheet. But then we met, and
then I moved to the technology category.
You moved. Are you still moving? Are you still moving? You're still moving categories?
Yeah.
You're in the love category. There's only one spot.
Nice.
Nice save.
I love it. And wow, it's actually funny that category. So you actually, because again, the podcast is about the relationship, but also how to live your life like a startup entrepreneurship. When did you start creating that? Because I think that's very methodological in your doing, like creating a spreadsheet with your contacts. And
it was very new. I mean, the honest truth is I was a creative most of my life. I wrote books, TV shows, and then I went to business school. And I was in business school when I met Nosiyer. And in business school, everyone uses spreadsheets for everything. And it was during the time where most students were going to recruit for like full-time jobs. And I knew I didn't want to take like a very traditional path. So I was like, I'm going to make a spreadsheet of everyone I know and figure out what to do with my life. And so that's why.
That is amazing. And first of all, you just said now you wrote books, you did that. First of all, that's huge. And you have a very interesting life story.
Thank you.
Nosiyer was here on our podcast already. I encourage you all to listen to it. We talked about your journey, but I want to hear a bit, Asia, about your journey that I learned to know, and I think it's a fascinating one, and how you became a content creator, but from your journey from A to Z, because I think it gives a lot of power to people.
Thank you. So I started off as a writer. So I wrote a book about bullying when I was in high school because I dealt with really bad bullying for years of my life as a kid. And around that time, there were a lot of stories about kids who had taken their life because of bullying. And I wanted to make a difference. And the way I knew how to make a difference was to write. So I wrote a book. I self-published it because I didn't have any connections. And then 1 month after I self-published it, it was acquired by Scholastic. It became an international bestseller. I went to undergrad. I was speaking. I wrote a second book, a TV show. And throughout that time, I was creating content, but very different content than what I'm doing now. And then when I met Nosiyer, he was like, you need to go all in on content. Like, I really think you have something here. And you have so many topics you're passionate about. You should just create. And so I learned from the best, and I started creating content, and then now I am doing it full time.
No, but she's very good at it. She's way better than me at it.
No.
And thank God you did not become a venture capitalist.
I know. I was thinking about going into VC.
I think I heard that you did like a few months of
I worked
of
at
VC,
during
while
business
you were
school.
while you were at business school. By the way, I think is an important trait to have.
It's great.
It was a great experience. I'm glad that I'm working.
There's
for
a lot of parallels in your story. Whether you were at Venmo, at Venmo, and you did a little bit of that as well, business school. But I think what you talked about before, Nosiyer, of saying like what attracted you about Asia in the beginning was that video or not that you saw with the Holocaust survivor and the content for good. And seeing your journeys coming together, which I think is incredibly powerful.
So we are actually big believers in the idea that it's weird and it's controversial, but I could never, for example, like date somebody that's that doesn't have geographic freedom. Or like a doctor, for example, it would be very difficult to date a doctor because they're working in one place in one city to build a career for 20-30 years. So I think for us what was very important is her career and my career should help each other, right? It should not be like parallel lines. It should be one big gigantic line. So now you see we're kind of both interested in similar things, doing similar things, and I see there's a lot of synergies between it. So I found that to be ideal kind of relationship. What do you think?
I think that part of what you're saying to me is people that look at life and the world in a more untraditional way. That your career can also be the thing that you love the most about your life, and that work is not really work, and together you can build things and travel as you work. And so, yeah, I didn't realize that that was something I dreamed of while I was in business school and looking at a more traditional path. And now I realize that that is definitely the kind of life that I want to live, and it's possible to still achieve the same things.
So there's no work-life balance, but it's essentially combined.
I never felt like what I was doing, whether I was writing books or TV shows, I never felt like it was work. Like I loved it so much. So I feel like for you, it's similar.
Yeah, I don't feel like we ever have to work.
Yeah.
And do you feel for other people, like if you had to give a tip on that or thoughts, like look for your passion, or what would you recommend for young people when they think about their path? Because both of you essentially, did the university route, went through the Ivy League, went through that route, but then decided to go and create your independent, route. You started it also earlier before university when you wrote the books and all that. But what would be your advice for younger people that are listening to this podcast?
I think, and I also kind of flipped back and forth because I also went and got my MBA. And so I was still thinking of a more traditional path. But I think now more than ever, I realize that the world is moving in a direction where you really don't have to go that way. Like you can start a business when you graduate high school, and it can turn into something that sustains your entire career. So I think if you have what you've taught me a lot about is discipline and consistency, and how that is kind of the most important thing for success. So I think if you have that, then you can create that and you don't have to go that traditional route.
Yeah, I would add to that and say it's not about the career you choose. It's about the career of the partner you choose as well. And I think we don't talk about this enough, but we are so influenced by the career of our partner subconsciously.
I don't think it's career. I think it's the ambition of the partner.
Yes, I agree. It's
good
same
point.
thing, actually. But yes, the ambition of the partner. And
it's not the same thing.
Well, I think career and ambition kind of go hand in hand. Like, not very glamorous career equals not very high ambition, and very glamorous career.
No,
equals...
you can be incredibly ambitious and not have a glamorous career.
Give me an example.
I don't know, like an accountant can be incredibly ambitious.
Yeah, so they would build their own accounting firm.
Right, which wouldn't be geographically independent.
Well, yeah, but wow, that's the first disagreement in the podcast. 10 minutes in, that's cool.
I'm letting you. I feel like in career in therapy.
No, but the ambition of the partner, I think, is a big deciding factor of your life trajectory as a human.
I completely agree with.
Yeah,
because I've noticed. Actually, we were talking about this yesterday. The ways in which we influence each other, we are now seeing like several months or a year later, how like, okay, if he is really dedicated to his health and fitness, then suddenly like I am. And same with career.
Yeah.
So essentially, in a way, I think amplifying,
yes,
one another. I think when I did with my wife, with Ophir, we did like a cleansing. It was like, I would have never been able to do the cleansing by myself. But the fact that she was there, made the juices as an example in our house.
What is a cleansing?
So we did like a 10-day juice cleansing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Just juice.
5 vegetables and fruit for 2 days. And then you do the 5-day just juices and 1 soup a day.
Wow.
And then for the last 3 days, you do again fruits and vegetables. And it was transformative. After 3 days, I had the biggest headache because of coffee.
Oh.
You stop coffee and you understand how addicted you are to coffee. That was the hardest thing. Throughout the 10 days.
Do you still drink it?
I went back to my same rituals. How do you keep the same rituals? That's a hard thing.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
Wow. We should try it.
You should try it.
Yeah.
No protein shakes.
That's fine.
I want to go back for a sec to I found it interesting thinking a bit about like you built your career from social media, 1 minute videos on Facebook, you around like the bullying of it. Actually, I read that you went through bullying through social media.
Yes. Yeah.
And I thought that was like
Interesting.
and then you became like a content creator and whatnot. But you both, in a way, you wrote your book a lot based on that. What do you think is the, you know, the power and responsibility of social media today?
So
and both. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, and both of you are like those vessels. So I really want to hear.
Yeah. So I was really hesitant. Like before we met, I had a few 100,000 followers and I was creating content, not very good content, but I was really hesitant to jump in because I had seen only the very bad side of social media. When I was 15 years old, a girl I never met dressed up as me for Halloween. I was getting death threats and cyberbullying from hundreds of people I never met. And it made me feel like my life wasn't worth living. It was so painful and so bad. And so I was always scared of embracing social media because I know it's incredibly powerful and can be used for good, but I've also seen the dark side of it at a really young age. And now I think as time went by and I developed my own sense of self, the negative comments really don't affect me anymore. Like there's very few that do, but I see it as so much more of a tool for good than something that I'm scared of. But I think generally, I think it's like 50-50 for the world because I
still think it's 50-50?
Yeah, because I think every day we see for our own lives the massive benefit and we decide to put out really good messages, but there's a whole other world that doesn't.
And what would be you went through it, what would be your recommendation today, both for I think for parents and for adolescents, kids that go through that process? What would you say to them?
I think for kids, you feel like you can't turn it off because it is like your social currency, it's your world, but the effects of it on your mental health and your self-esteem, it's really hard to know in the moment. And I know it from my experience. So just like, if you're being bullied online and you're a kid, just turn it off. Like it will always be there. And for parents, I think just having open communication with kids about it is the best thing that you can do, but it's really hard. It's like a massive black hole.
I have nothing to add. I mean, social media, changed my life.
Yeah.
And I like to believe that the videos we made changed other people's lives. There is no going back. There is no future in the world where we don't have social media. We simply want to connect. Are we going to have a better version of social media? Are we going to have a better algorithm? Probably. Are we going to ban some videos on social media? Probably. We do it on TV already. So I think moving forward, social media will be with us for the rest of humanity. It's just about how do we make V3 of social media better.
And do you think there's anything to learn out? Like I see now, like AI, right? It's an up and coming thing. Is there anything that AI, in a way, can learn from social media and how to do it better? How to create, the revolution. Social media was a revolution. AI is a revolution. How to create the revolution in a smarter way for humanity.
Another social media revolution?
No, now you have AI.
Yeah.
And it's a big revolution. And there's the same risks to it that happens with all that. How would you, if you would give advice to the, to the AI revolution, how to create it in a smarter way?
I just don't think humans do. Humans only learn. Like, how do kids learn? They learn by touching the fire.
Yeah.
You don't tell them, hey, there's a fire there, don't touch it. Like a human has to touch the fire, feel it on their skin, and then they run away. So I think like with AI, we're loving it today. It's amazing. It's the best thing ever. It's, AI has helped us so much, even in our relationship. But at the end of the day, I think in the next 5 years, we'll realize this is a most dangerous tool, and this is like a nuclear weapon. And somebody's going to be burned. I just don't know who, but somebody's going to be burned very soon by AI, and then we'll wake up.
How did AI help you in the How did AI help you in the relationship?
I was hoping he wouldn't catch on that. You want to tell them?
You go for it.
I'll tell them. Well, whenever we have a fight, I ask.
How often does that happen, by the way?
Not very often.
No, not too often.
But when we had one serious fight, I just didn't. I wanted to understand my partner better. So what I did is I literally just talked for 10 minutes with AI. I did a 10-minute voice note. And I said, this is exactly what happened. This is who my partner is. This is what she does. This is what I do. Da-da-da-da-da. This is what happened. What do you think is going on? And just AI just helped me understand her better than I could ever understand her. And it was so bad. And I understood the motivations behind everything she does, good or not good. And I was like, okay, I get you now. And I love you.
I'm going to add to this. So very early on in our relationship, very, very early on in our relationship, I learned that Nosier will not always listen to me, but he will always listen to ChatGPT.
That is a beautiful tagline.
And now this was like...
It's not very true tagline.
This was like... It is extremely true. This was like 2 months into our relationship. And so... sometimes when I needed to communicate something, I would just communicate it through ChatGPT. And even for our anniversary, I made him a custom GPT filled with 365 reasons I love him.
Wow,
and
that's so beautiful.
So he can ask it.
Yes, I ask it like, why does she love me when it comes to my looks? And it would give me the 5 reasons.
Yeah. And so so anyway, during this fight that we had where he was feeding everything that was happening to ChatGPT, instead of just, arguing with me, he would just show me his phone and he would be like, and communicate through ChatGPT. But to your point, it was enormously helpful. I'm shocked. Like it really, everything.
How did it help you?
Because everything he was showing me, like, this is what it says about you. I was like, wait, but that is true. Like, that's exactly it. And so honestly, it helped us get through it very quickly.
Yeah, even ChatGPT wrote a text for me that I sent to her. But the text, it was so much better than I could ever write it because it's with empathy, with kindness. It's directly talking. It's sandwiching the feedback. It's like it's really like respectful. If it was just up to me, like I'm like blah 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 blah. But ChatGPT made it really organized.
I think what's helpful also in the heat of the moment is like when you are in an argument and you have a tool like that is very logical and like concise, it can diffuse things.
Yeah. The presence of something logical in the middle of 2 illogical people is just such a relief. Have you tried it?
Interesting way of thinking.
With your wife?
I've not tried it with my wife.
Oh my God, please do.
So I'll go back to a Fury after this episode today, and I'll think how I do it. I'll try to fight with her through ChatGPT. We'll try. I'll come back to you how it was.
I want the clip of this thing because I think I'm gonna upload this because this should be.
It should.
The world should use ChatGPT to. I told my mom, with my dad, 35-year-old relationship. I was like, Mom and Dad, you don't understand each other. You need to. They were fighting. You need to understand each other. Just like literally talk to ChatGPT, and it'll help you understand your husband for 35 years. And then my mom's about to do that.
She's about to do it?
She's about to do it.
Wow.
She's about to use Chat, and she's gonna send my dad a message through ChatGPT. And I think that'll be the first time my dad, and my mom can truly understand each other.
I think at the end of the day, it's just an unbiased mediator.
Yeah.
Like we go to our friends, they're biased. We go to our parents, they're biased. But ChatGPT is not.
Yeah.
Yet.
I love it. There are a lot of other biased things, exactly.
Yeah.
As you said, by the way, you both started to date, I think, after October 7th.
Okay. We're switching topics.
We're combining them. We're combining them. October 7th wasn't, an easy thing. Did you feel in your relationship, did you get criticism around it? Giving the timing and everything. Nosier, you went through an interesting shift after October 7th.
I would say October 7th probably helped us get together. Because I think we had a date on October 9th.
Yeah.
Right? Of 2023?
Yes. We met
for lunch.
We met 2 weeks before October 7th. We did not know each other. And we met on October 9th for lunch. And on that day, it felt like the whole world was like one on this side and one on this side. And it was just like me and her here.
Yeah.
And it just felt like we're two people alone in this world. And we're just like, oh, you get me and I get you. And like, yeah. And it was about this topic. And it was just like, and that, what did that do to you?
We met for lunch and we sat and we just talked about Israel, about October 7th, about the world. And I was at Columbia also at the time. So it was like chaos. And I was coming, it was right by school actually. Yeah. And I came from school and then went back to school. And it felt like everything around us was just still. And we just sat and talked and got to know each other on a different level than when we met 2 weeks prior. And I think for me, the thing that I felt the most was, for some reason, this man that I had never met, or I had met, once before, was the only person I wanted to talk to during that time. Because even the way that his mind was seeing the future, like he wasn't stuck in the tragedy. He was thinking about, okay, how do we build back? How do we bring people together, even in the darkest of moments when also like your life was crumbling because of, the things that you said online and things like that.
Did you say it? When did you write the post that
on
you're
the plane to
on
come?
the plane coming to meet her?
The plane coming to meet her. The post, just to remind, the post that you said, until now I define myself as a Palestinian Israeli, and from now on I'm defining myself as Israeli Palestinian.
Yeah.
And I remember your phone was blowing up the whole lunch.
Little did I know that tweet was going to destroy my career. and I was just having lunch with you.
Yeah.
Do you feel as you destroyed it or built it?
Temporarily. But to build muscle, you have to break muscle. And I really felt like it was like rupturing muscle. But then the muscle that came back just became bigger and better.
And do you feel having Asia there at that time, so you essentially, that was the fuel and excitement gave you that, comfort?
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't know it then. Like we were so, I didn't even know this was a date, right? Like we were just friends getting to know each other.
Excuse me, of course it was a date. I flew to you.
He flew to New York for lunch. Just
for the lunch.
Where did you fly from?
From LA to New York for lunch.
That's West Coast, East Coast.
No, because I was supposed to go to Brazil. So I was like, I'd go to New York first before I go to Brazil just for that lunch.
That is a date, Asia.
I didn't know. He didn't tell me he was flying to meet me.
And she said, I have 1 hour. I have to go back to class. I was like, okay.
I didn't know.
Okay.
The hard to get here is coming up and up.
She is so hard to get. But the hardest thing to get is also, the most valuable.
The most worthy.
I'm very happy you made it a very hard chase. Because
every girl should do that.
That's her advice. Every girl.
I don't think so. Really?
Yeah.
Asia, come on. As a guy.
It's biology.
It's
biology.
It's biology.
Wait, what do you mean biology? Tell us.
Meaning that in the animal kingdom, the male animals like to chase the female animals. No, but really, like, I do think that, and this is a very traditional perspective, but I do think that relationships work a lot better when the man is pursuing the woman and the woman is not chasing after the man. I just think there's something in men that likes challenge, that likes chase, and doesn't like things too easy. That's my honest opinion.
What do you think about that, Nosier?
I agree with that.
I actually don't think relationships can work if the woman is the one that pursues the man first.
Ooh, that's very controversial. If we put this on the internet, I think the comment section, because Israeli women are like non-traditional. They're like, I chase the man. I'm my own boss.
I think it's a combo. I think it's a combo, but they feel more around that. I'm thinking about my wife, Ofiri. No, she asked like, there's
she chased you first.
She said like, let's have a cup of coffee at a conference, and since then I'm making her coffee every morning.
So yeah, maybe it's a. I mean, it's like an American.
Wait, hold on. Just to be clear, just to put all the things, you asked your friend, so I kissed you.
No. Okay, this was like months later.
So she also asked me to hit on her.
But also no.
Interesting.
No, I didn't. No, basically what happened was we were friends for a while, and at a certain point, I was like, okay, this is moving into not friends. I can tell we're like not actually friends because he would make comments. But he never kissed me. He never tried to kiss me.
For how long?
Never
months.
make the first move.
Like 5 months.
For 5 months?
Yeah, never make the first move.
For
So
5 months?
At that point, I was like, okay, I want to be friends, but why does he only want to be friends with me? You know, it got to my head.
I love it.
And so we had a dinner one night and he walked me home and it was so romantic, and still he didn't try to kiss me. So now I'm starting to feel like a bit insecure. Like, I don't understand what's going on. So I told my friend, you can text him and you can say, this is his last chance. He can try to kiss me tomorrow or that's it.
You told his friend.
No, I told my friend.
You told your friend.
To tell, yeah.
And she texted you.
Yeah.
But she didn't say I told her.
Yeah, well, I knew. Well, I knew. But basically, when I got that green light that for sure, if I try to kiss, she will kiss back.
Why did you have to have that validation?
It's not about fear of failure, for sure not, or fear of rejection. It's none of that. I have this idea that like, you need to build an amazing magnet, as opposed to be like running after something. You need to be like a great like pull versus push. So I was like, okay, in this relationship, I'm gonna try to be so attractive, professionally, emotionally, career-wise, that she's gonna want to be with me. And I think that's what I. And so you did the same thing. You're trying to build a magnet. I'm trying to build a magnet, and nothing is moving for 6 months.
Well, because you picked someone that doesn't believe in making the first move.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
you're like, I'm a magnet, but I'm also a magnet. No, but something that I was laughing about to myself was that
what a ridiculous relationship.
But it was really, in hindsight, every month I was in New York, I'm in school, and suddenly this man would appear in New York and he would just be very free. And he would be like, let's hang out every single day. Let's do this,
guy
let's
that
do
is
that.
not free. That
Right,
is like
so-
the opposite of his. I know. I like spending with this guy. Like he is not a free man.
I started
in the way
getting
of
confused.
like his time.
Yeah, I was like, what do you do with your career? Like, you're just always free.
I'm just a crypto boy from Dubai.
And he'd be like, let's just go to a restaurant and like work next to each other, and let's go to a workout class. And I was like, why is this guy always in New York and always free? Little did I know it was part of your big plan.
Yeah.
Wow. So you really like did a trick, and you had to practice Zen.
Basically.
No, like that was like literally Buddhism.
But it was like,
how did you do it?
I mean,
Like you had the attraction. Like you were there. You held yourself.
yeah, I'm very good at self-control. If it wasn't obvious, you don't make 1,000 videos in 1,000 days if you don't have self-discipline. So I was like,
And that comes from your mother.
Probably, yeah, probably. But I mean, it's about how we believe in relationships. Like, how could this be helpful to the viewer? Like, number one, I think, what is it? Is you should play hard to get. Like, I think me having to chase her for 6 months,
People are gonna hate me for this, but I think it works.
that worked for us, right? And we've been very non-apologetic about what works for us. The number two thing, what works for me is, I don't believe in like hitting on women like you're an animal. Like, in a way, you want to play the animal kingdom, but not too much. Like, you don't want to look like you're a man who's driven by his sexual desires or by his emotions. You want to be like a man that's just like driven by logic. And so, logically speaking, I'm like, yes, you're attractive. Yes, I want to be with you so badly, but I'm not going to do it on the first date, especially if I care about you for like a long-term relationship. So I think that's like, yeah. I mean, what? Why are you laughing?
Yeah, no, I yeah.
This is a hard podcast.
It's easy. It's fun. So,
I think I know why you're laughing.
do you want to ask her what she's
No,
laughing?
definitely not.
That's okay.
You also now like work together, right? Like you create videos together. How's that? And is it like, tell me first of all, like funny moments that happened through that video creation, and do you like plan it or it just happens?
We definitely plan it. Funny moments. I'm trying to think.
I'm a big believer in working together with your partner. Huge believer. The worst nightmare for me, it's just, I'm talking about for me, is to spend 12 hours at work and then come back to home and then have to explain all the work to my partner, and then my partner has to pretend that she cares. I can't. I don't want to. I want my partner to actually care. So therefore, it's like the same mission. So I really love us doing things together. We collaborate on projects, on videos. We shoot. It's an opportunity to spend more time together. You know, like this. Now it's like two things in one. We're getting the podcast, but we're getting to spend time with each other. So it's like a double win. Every moment we work together is a double win because you make your relationship stronger and your career stronger at the same time. It should never be either or. It's always been my relationship stronger, but my career suffers.
I don't think it's just a double win. I think it's a triple win. I think it's win-win-win because when you're powerful together, the world as well wins.
That's true. Your work is better.
That's true.
Your
Definitely.
videos, they create a positive change. And when you're like I really believe in that win-win-win.
I agree.
I think for me, what's really interesting too is seeing the different sides of my partner because, you know, in a typical relationship where you don't work together, you see like one version of them every single day. And one thing I was really surprised about, I think the first time we worked together was in Azerbaijan. We made a video together and it was so easy to work with you. And I see you in your meetings, like you're not very easy, but for some reason, when we worked together, it was like very easy. And so it was really cool to see this other side of you and then how it works with this other side of me. And then recently we worked together on something and you were like, wow, you're extremely reliable. Like that's so attractive.
The most attractive thing is when you think that your partner is extremely reliable.
He gave me a 1-day deadline and I made it.
Yeah.
What 1-day deadline?
Like to make a video about something.
Make a video?
Like with a brand.
With a brand, yeah. It's not my deadline.
Yeah.
I don't give her deadlines.
No, I benefited.
You liked the deadline?
It was hard, but I loved it. I also had 3 other brand deals to film.
And she was paid really well for it.
I was paid very well for it. But like he saw I delivered and like very high quality.
But I think you're both. Like, first of all, you're both hustlers.
Yeah.
In that way.
In the positive sense.
In the positive sense of
Not
the
in
hustling.
the sleazy sense.
And also like what we talked about yesterday, Asia, which you shared about like the 75-day challenge, which I would love for you to say because I think it's a crazy challenge. And same as you, like the 1-day video. So I think when you put your mind to something, you go all in.
Probably true.
Yeah.
Probably true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say maybe about the 75
day. I mean, I really like to be inspired by the people I'm around, whether they're my friends, family, or my partner. And obviously, Nוסייר is the king of a challenge. He likes a challenge in a relationship, in his life, everything. And so I was on TikTok in like November and I started seeing a lot of videos about 75 hard. And it's basically this challenge where you do 2 workouts every day. You don't eat any junk food, any alcohol, drink a gallon of water, read 10 pages, and you have to do this every day. And if you miss one thing, you restart. And
you restart the 75 days?
Yes. And for someone maybe in one place, it's like a little bit easier. But for me, I was traveling a lot. And so it was quite difficult. And, but I was like, you know what? I want to do this and I'm not going to restart. And so I started, and I think like a month in, I went to Mauritius, which is a 24-hour travel day. And I was sprinting around the airport for an hour and a half to meet my deadline. Or like my plane got delayed. I was in Paris and I went to a hotel and there was no gym. So I'm like running up and down the stairs of the hotel for an hour and a half. But that taught me so much about discipline and commitment. And I've never felt so good about myself, not just from how I looked, but how I felt about the fact that I committed to this thing. And I did it no matter how hard the circumstances were. So that was something that really changed my perspective.
What are your tips for people that like want to become more of a routine, like going into those things? How do you think, I want to get into Asia and Nusayer's mind. Like that's a crazy challenge. The 1 day is like, that's a crazy challenge. How do you, from a mind perspective, where does it come from and how can you help create it?
So I really think you are the product of the 5 people that surround you. So I became more like this by being around Nוסייר for sure. I had a lot of it in me already, but like I think you have to be very cautious of who you surround yourself with, who you date, if you want to have a better life than the one that you're living. But I also don't believe in setting like, oh, in 3 weeks, I'm going to start something. If you want to do it, just start tomorrow. I really, and that's what I did with 75 hard. I think you have to jump in. You have to not be ready because you're never going to be ready. And then you deal with it and you figure it out.
I think what most people underestimate is that when you do something hard, there are 3 benefits. Number 1 is your health benefits, right? Your self-confidence benefits. Number 2 is your partner looks at you differently as well. You look better to your partner because now you get the respect of your partner. So you get the respect of yourself, the respect of your partner, and the respect of everybody around you. It's like 3 benefits when you do something hard. So if anybody's listening to this and they're like in this long marriage, one of the people, the man or the woman, doesn't matter, should do something extremely hard, a challenge, and succeed at it. Climb Mount Everest or like lose 10 kilograms in 100 days or whatever. But when you do that, everybody around you respects you more and you respect yourself more. And I think that's...
And it just adds more dimension to your life. It's just interesting. Like you did this thing that is different out of the blue. Like it's cool to have a life that has a lot of color in it.
I agree.
And I think, by the way, those tips are relevant to everything. Like what you said before, which I really got, like, don't wait. Just do it. It's not only for like routines, it's for transitions in life. It's for other things that we do. We can wait, writing a book, right? You talk about your writing a book. I know my book, you could have gone through 300,000 edits of the book. Yeah. But there's a point in time that you say, let's freaking put it out. Yeah. We'll get it. Worst case scenario, we adjust it, but it's out there. And then we know better about ourselves and we're better positions to put it out into the world, and the feedback that we get, we can actually adjust.
Exactly.
I think a lot of people don't do that. And I think they can get, stuck. So if it's one thing, put it out, put the MVP, put it out there and run with it.
Yeah.
What's your next challenge?
What's my next challenge? It's a great question. What's my next challenge? First of all, now I'm in a challenge with the investment company, which is a big
and your second newborn.
Big difference, exactly, which is a big difference. And I really also believe in like jumping between realities in life. So never really done investments. So this is like the big thing, but like I'm in it, and I'm also now my wife Ophelia is 7 months pregnant.
Wow.
Into our second child. And I, my first child, Yam, he's now 2 years and 8 months. I always say, like, I was shit scared. When he came, I was also shit scared about like logistics. Like, how do you change a diaper? What do you do? Like, how do you even do it? And now it's about the second one. Where are you gonna have the time? How are you gonna do everything? Where it's gonna come from? So those are the 2 challenges. What are your both
next challenges?
Next challenges. What are your both challenges, and what are your collective challenges?
My next challenge is very simple. Get Nas.io, our technology company, to a Series B stage, and grow the technology company 100x more, or 10x more, not 100x. Like, make my technology company massive. That's my next challenge. What's yours?
I think I have 2. I want to get to 1 million followers on Instagram by the end of the year.
How many do you have now?
I think 630,000. And I do this series called Jews Around the World.
By the way, before that, for what end? Like, why do you want to get?
I was going to ask that question.
Why do you want to get to 1 million?
It's a nice number. I don't know. I don't want to stop at 1 million, but if I can get to 1 million by the end of the year, I think it means that my content is improving. I am reaching more people with my messages, and it's just growing at a nice rate.
Yeah, I mean, look, most people listening to this don't understand this, but when this is your career, this number matters.
Yeah.
It is the number that signifies your growth in your career. So for people that say, oh my God, it's so vain to want to get to 1 million followers, but that very same people say, well, I want to get to senior level executive in my company.
Right.
But wait, to what end? It's a title, right? It's just a word, but it just signifies that you're growing in your career. And so if this is a career.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's the same as like if you write a book, you want it to become a bestseller, right? You want the reach and the growth.
What do you feel when you, like, because you already became a bestseller. What did that, like, because I find sometimes in life you put something, you get to it, and then, okay, I got to it. Off to the next
It's the journey
challenge.
that's cool.
It's a journey, and it helps. Look, for me, becoming a bestseller for my first book, it wasn't important, and I didn't really care about the stamp. I wanted to reach as many kids as possible with my book. And so, for example, the next challenge for me as well is like I do this series called Jews Around the World that's really important to me, where I go to Jewish communities all over the world and I tell their stories, especially Jews that don't look like what we would think of when we think about stereotypical Jewish people. And I do that because I want to educate both Jews and non-Jews in the diaspora. And for me, I have mostly non-Jewish followers. So if I have 1 million followers and most of them are not Jewish and I continue this series, that means I get to spread these messages to people who would never see them. So that's part of also why it's really important to me.
But actually, you should talk about how you rediscovered your interest in Judaism.
Yeah. So I grew up in a secular household, but very deeply proud of being Jewish. But then I was in schools and in communities that there were really not many Jews. And I dealt with a lot of self-hate around my identity, and I didn't really tell anyone I was Jewish, and there was a lot of very normal anti-Semitism.
Where are you, by the way, like Meyerok? Where does it come from?
Meyerok? It's a made-up name. So my grandpa, when he immigrated to the U.S.,
Where did he come from?
He came from, my grandpa's family came from Ukraine. Okay. They were in Brooklyn, and this was my great grandpa. He was working in Brooklyn on Rockaway Avenue, and the people he was working with couldn't pronounce his real last name, which we still don't really know. So he took the first 3 letters, which was something like May, and then Rock from Rockaway Avenue, and made Meyerok. And so basically, what was I saying? So I was surrounded by a lot of very normalized anti-Semitism.
What is normalized anti-Semitism?
Just like in my town in California, in my school I was at in California, I was one of the few Jews, and there was just a lot of like really bad jokes about Jews, about the Holocaust, and I just thought that was normal. Like I didn't realize that was actually anti-Semitism, but that was just what I was surrounded by. And so over time, I became very kind of self-hating about my identity and really hid it. And then it was during COVID, I saw this like ad to bring Shabbat dinner to Holocaust survivors that live below the poverty line in Brooklyn. And I didn't even know that there were Holocaust survivors living in poverty in New York right next to me. So I signed up one day in the middle of COVID, and I got like 10 bags of food, and I went door to door, and I started sitting and just listening to their stories for like 6-7 hours. And then I began doing this every week for 3 years. And that just started this whole journey for me to reconnect with my identity, to become extremely proud, and to want to create content for an audience I had that didn't even know I was Jewish about the Jewish people.
Wow. And that was recent.
Very recent, like 4 years ago.
And do you feel, because it reignited like 4 years ago, that you come from a different perspective in telling the story?
Yes, definitely. I think that I come from a little bit of a more nuanced perspective, because even like when I was at NYU, I was in very liberal circles that were very anti-Israel, to be honest. And I can now when I create content, I hear the rhetoric that I heard from that point of time, and I try to find a way to speak to those people, because I think there are people that are like, don't even bother, but I think there's a lot of people in the middle that you can shift their perspective. Speaking
of that, Asia, do you ever see yourself, envision yourself living in Israel?
One day I could see it. I love coming here, and I love spending time here. So who knows what the future holds.
Nוסייר?
Who knows what the future holds? I have no clue. I think I'll be living everywhere around the world, but someday I do see myself living in Israel. Just when? You'll never know.
When we'll never know. But what would be what needs to happen in order for you to say, I'm coming to Israel?
Ooh, wow. That is interesting. You know, if there's a world where like, oh my God, Israel signs a peace deal with Saudi Arabia and Iran is no longer a threat and the economic corridor between India, Israel, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE is being built. And somehow, some way, the war ended, and now there's just like this renewed sense of like, whoa, like that's cool. That becomes the only show in town, basically. I could see myself want to spend
really
more
cool.
time here, where I think it's just like, yeah, when we start to see, okay, we're now ready to build, I'd be like, yeah.
Where does that come from? Does it come from like what you said, like a builder's mentality that we're ready to build?
Yeah. I think when the region feels that it's ready to build, like when the UAE made peace with Israel, I was like, it's time to go.
The Abraham Accords.
Yeah, it's time to go live there.
I think you have a very good eye for opportunity. And so when you see something is like developing and growing and you see the potential, you're like, I gotta be there.
Yeah, I gotta be there. When you see that there's a spark of hope. Now it's very difficult to see that spark of hope. I mean, I see it, but I have other priorities now in life, saving my company and my relationship.
Building your relationship. Not saving it, building your relationship.
Yeah, but my company's not failing either. It's growing. But it's like growing both things. I think that's my priority now. But when that's safe, I do see Israel as being the next thing.
I mean, so we're already over an hour went by.
Wow.
Really fast. It's amazing.
Great.
We usually do podcasts for like 15 minutes, and they told me we're over 50 minutes. So I'm just loving it, and I hope you are. I hope you are as well.
That went by fast.
That went very fast.
Yeah.
To end, I have two questions. First of all, so Nוסייר is wearing his beautiful shirt.
Thank you.
So beautiful.
So beautiful.
42%.
As beautiful as your dress.
As beautiful as your dress. Do you ever like think that you should, because you're so stylish.
Thank you.
He is as well in his own right and way.
Yeah.
Do you ever like feel like you got to take him for like a shopping sprint to adjust?
Look at these shoes.
What's your answer?
These are new shoes.
Look, she started from the bottom up.
Exactly. Look, I believe you can't fight every battle. So we have some beautiful shoes.
So she made me buy the most expensive shoes of my life.
I didn't make you buy them. I took you to a store and you picked the most expensive shoes.
And then she made me buy the most expensive
You
jeans
picked
of my
these
life.
pants. And then, I don't want to change him. So if we go to a friend's wedding, he has to wear a suit to be respectful.
Let's just say this is a $20 t-shirt. I've been wearing $20 t-shirts for the last 10 years. And she said, you need a new t-shirt. She showed me a $200 t-shirt.
It was not $200.
And I said, Asia, that's going to be $4,000 worth of t-shirts. And she said, it's worth it for your brand. And I was like, this is why I like her. She pushes me to like look better.
It was not
be better.
$200.
Okay, it was
I bought him 7 black t-shirts across the range of prices as a gift.
The minimum was $100.
But you make a lot of money and you don't have like any expenses and you wear this every single day to business meetings, to get awards, everything.
It's true.
You have to invest.
This is why I like you, because you're pushing me to think different. What do you think? Should I buy a $100 t-shirt, Yaniv?
I don't think it's about necessarily how much it costs, but I do think that you do wear it every day.
Yeah.
So you should invest in yourself.
Exactly.
Thank you.
And you can do the same thing, but like,
Yes.
And I think it would make Asia happy.
There's one thing I learned. It's like when I go to business meetings, if I'm dressed better, I could charge higher price.
Wow, that's shocking.
Really?
Yeah, I'm shocked by this. And if I'm not dressed, like now, by the way, I hate society.
Society.
Because
we're ending on a positive note.
You hate society, but you picked a girl that likes to dress up.
No, I love that. I love that about you. I'm so attracted to this. But it's just like, if I go to a meeting with like 5 team members and 2 assistants and 1 security guard, you could charge so much more than if I go to the meeting alone.
So next time he comes here, he's going to have 3 security guards and an entire entourage.
I'll let Israel Ayom know.
Yeah, just
for our next 2026 Hebrew.
Yes, and I'll come with a security guard.
Podcast interview.
Yeah. I'm going to speak Hebrew too.
Yes?
Yeah.
You're working on it?
Yeah.
Well, this is a public commitment. Are you ready for that?
Yeah.
I'm working on it. But not because of you, because you won't help me.
Okay.
Why
you won't teach me. I don't know.
I'm her boyfriend, not her Hebrew teacher. You know, like there's
I
only.
thought in relationships you should build one road together. You should work together. It shouldn't be separate lives.
Yeah, and why should I be your Hebrew teacher?
No, we should have conversations in this language that you're learning.
No, that I will. But first you need to get on my level, which is gonna take some time.
Well, you can help me. It's about bringing people up together.
If there's one thing I really don't like is teaching languages. Actually, I have this another controversial opinion. Wow, I'm being too honest here in front of the whole world. No one should learn a language.
So don't come back and learn to speak Hebrew.
No one should learn a language.
Because in the next 2 years, AI is just going to make it so easy to get
So why are you
automatic
learning
translation.
Hebrew?
I mean, I feel like I have my last chance to learn Hebrew. Otherwise, I will not need it in 10 years. You literally just put glasses on. You speak Hebrew to me. I hear
It'll
English.
take time.
3 years.
I don't think that no one should learn a language. I think it's very good for your brain as well.
I can tell about myself, like when I learned, I spent a year in North America, then came back to Israel. I lost all my English, then Hebrew. I never learned a language.
You never learned a language?
No, I never learned a language.
You never learned Hebrew? English?
I never learned how to learn a language because when I came back, I already
Hold on,
was
you never learned
fluent
English?
in English, so I never learned how to learn English because I already spoke it. And the Hebrew, I never really learned because I was back here.
Were you raised with English?
And I think that wasn't a good thing for me. I was raised here with Heblish. So Hebrew and English. Then I went 1 year to Canada when I was 5.
Okay.
Came back. I lost my
wow.
Hebrew, knew my English. So when I was here, I didn't learn I didn't learn how to learn English. So I didn't know Hebrew. So I don't know how to learn languages. So whenever I try, like I tried when I was a year in Canada, in Montreal and at McGill, I tried to learn French. Total failure. Je m'appelle Yeniv. It's like the only thing I know.
Sounds pretty good to me.
I know, it sounds good. But it's because I never learned. I think learning a language gives you an interesting quality.
I would like to see the evidence on that.
It's good. We'll try to pick up something.
That being said, I will learn Hebrew next year for sure. It is something necessary I have to do. It's not for fun. It's necessary.
Yeah, 2026. We're here back at the
Apparently
podcast
in 2
in
years
Hebrew.
it won't be necessary.
Well, in that 1 year, I need to learn it.
Okay, so we're gonna end with after we're committed here for 2026 podcast. Live like a startup.
Together
here in Israel, together in Hebrew, we have that commitment. The last thing I want to say, so Nוסייר, I got intel. I worked on this podcast, so I got some intel that you were at Asia's family for Passover
as a non-Jew.
Exactly. Can you sing us a bit of like Haggadah?
Wait, I forgot the song. I forgot the song. I only did it once in my life.
Next year when you learn Hebrew.
No, the Shabbat song I remember. Malachei HaMelachim, right?
Akadosh Baruch Hu.
Now I've done enough Shabbat so I can sing the Shabbat songs, but that's pretty much it.
It's okay. He has to come back, so he'll.
The real question is, Yaniv,
Yes.
what's it like a Jewish girl and a non-Jewish guy dating?
Let's end
At
with
my
that.
family Passover with 60 people.
Yeah. How is it to date?
How is it?
How is it for you to date a Jewish girl? And
First of all, I recommend dating a Jewish girl to everybody in the world.
It's an interesting recommendation.
expand.
Yeah, why? Why?
I feel like whatever I say, I'm going to get in trouble. No, I think there's a lot of, well, I studied Judaism as well. So there's a lot of elements in Judaism that you can see in many Jewish people. One, the tikkun olam, the global nature of, I think Jewish Americans or Jewish Mexicans or Jewish Israelis, they have a global perspective of the world, right? Because you have relatives in Ukraine, you have relatives in Russia. So you're global by nature if you're Jewish. I like that. I like global people. Number two is the arguments, the debates. The everything must be argued, everything must be debated. It's like there's this pursuit for truth.
Which is a great segue into Asia's. Yesterday, I saw the amazing video that you did about debating.
Oh, yes. I was
Great.
raised to argue.
It's the same thing. No, you were
Yeah.
raised to argue. And Elon
Exactly.
Levy sat here last week. Elon Levy was a
Did he really?
spokesperson.
Cool.
So Elon was here and he said the most important thing you should
Yeah.
teach in high school is debating.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that
So
happens a
debating.
lot in our relationship. And I think the last one is this desire to have your family every Friday together
Totally.
is cool. Like, I want
Yeah.
that for my family.
And also, I think the idea of community, Nוסייר is so connected to this idea of community. And like when we travel and go to Azerbaijan or Mauritius, there's a Jewish community that invites Jews and non-Jews in to celebrate holidays, to have Shabbat. It's like this beautiful global web. And I think that's something that you also love about it.
I like that global network or global web thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how's it for you to date a Muslim guy?
Yes. How is it for you?
So I think Nusayr describes himself as post-religion. Am I wrong?
Maybe.
I am wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
And I think I look at him as an orb. He is like a ball of light in the world. I don't see him as connected to a specific identity in any regard, including a content creator or a tech bro. Like, you are just this bright light that was brought into this world. And he's taught me so much about, look, honestly, I was skeptical when we first met because it was after October 7th, and I was afraid of, like, what if we don't agree on things? What if our vision for the world, for the things we care about, is different? But as I got to know him and fall in love with him, and I saw how similarly we looked at the world and the things that we cared about, I also saw that the way he is in this world is as this bright light that is meant to bring people together and to serve as a glimmer of hope, I think, for humanity. And so that has been my experience dating you. We haven't, thankfully, had any complications around religion or identity. And my family is incredibly obsessed with him. And your family has been incredibly obsessed with me. So I think we've been very, very, very lucky.
Yes, we have been very lucky.
I love that way to end. I think you are both very lucky. I think you bring together something incredible that makes the world a better place. And I want to encourage you to continue with it. Tell your stories, tell your combined stories, and tell the story to the world. So thank you.
Thank you, Yaniv. Thank you for having us. And thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you. You made it so much less scary than it was in my head.
Yes, he's great, isn't he?
Yeah, it's very easy.
Thank you so much. And I'll say a few words in Hebrew. So, תודה רבה, נוסייר ואייג'ה, ותודה רבה לכם שהייתם איתנו בעוד פרק. תודה באמת. אני רוצה לבקש שתעשו לייק. שמעתם כמה חשוב זה הפולווינג. תעשו לייק, תעשו תגובות, תעשו הכל כדי שנוכל ביחד לייצר ולהמשיך להפוך את החיים כסטארט-אפ לקהילה מדהימה. תודה לעורכת התוכן מורן פררו ולצוות הוידאו-האב של ישראל היום. Thank you.
That's it.